everybody, on this cool fall morning. It's actually very, very late September whenever this video is being filmed, and it's definitely pretty cool this morning. It's about 50 degrees or so, but a beautiful day. I am in a park that, even if you live in Indianapolis, you probably haven't heard of this place. It's called Paul Rooster Park, and it's spelled R-U, not like the chicken, the bird. So this is a park that is a pretty good example, I think, of a lot of the parks that you're gonna find around Indianapolis, and just a little bit how surprising they are. So in this video, we're gonna talk about those parks just a little bit. Stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton with the Compton Home Group. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about, of course, living in Indianapolis and the parks in Indianapolis, or where you might want to live in Indianapolis, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and also tap the little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. People reaching out to us from all over the country with questions about parks in Indianapolis and wanting to live near parks and where do I need to be to make something like that happen. And of course, questions about Indianapolis in general or any of the cities and towns that surround Indianapolis. So if you have questions at all, then don't hesitate to reach out any way you know how. We'll always have your back with those questions. And we'll certainly have your back when it comes time for you to make your move to the Indianapolis Metro. All right, again, guys, I'm in Paul Rooster Park, way east in Indianapolis, a little south of US 40, which is a major road that goes through Indianapolis. It's actually Washington Street when you're in Indianapolis, but once you get east of it, it turns back into US 40, which is the national road, goes across the country. But I am in Paul Rooster Park, and this is, like I said at the beginning of the video, such a good example of a bit of a surprise. So if you don't live in Indianapolis, I'm sure absolutely don't know that Paul Rooster Park exists. But even if you live in Indianapolis, and I've lived in this whole area all over the place. So Indianapolis, I've lived on the north side, I've lived on the east side, I've lived on the downtown area. I mean, I've lived all over. And until my family and I moved way east, I didn't know this place was here. I mean, you could look at a list of all the Indianapolis parks that are under the Parks Department, and you could see it on here, but I'd never been here. In fact, first time I saw this place was just driving by and kind of stumbled across it. So the entrance to it, back down this road, which is a county road, it's 200, goes east-west, actually. So county road, driving by it, saw Paul Rooster Park. I wonder what this is. So I took the winding road back up here, and I was stunned a long time ago or not that long ago, whenever I discovered this park. And I feel like that's kind of the situation for a lot of people around Indianapolis. If you don't go to a particular part of it very often, then you don't really know what's there. But this place here is, I mean, it's kind of a gem. It's 82 acres. There's a big dog park right over here behind me. And looking off into the sun, because it is early in the morning, but huge open area back here behind me, just to the south, and right behind me. We'll kind of walk over that way and show you a shot of it. But there's, the sun will get you a little bit in the camera. There's a huge, at least for Indiana, in central Indiana, giant sledding hill back here. And of course, you wouldn't have to just sled down that. I mean, you could come up here and ride your bikes down it. At least that's what I would do and my kids would do. But certainly in the winter when we do get snow, you could come over here and sled. And then back over this way, huge open area again. They have a playground right back here with typical playground equipment, swing set, jungle gym, that kind of stuff. So it is typical in your parks in a way, but it's a little bit unique because it does have the dog park. Got a picnic area back here. It has a sledding hill, which definitely is a bit unusual, but it also has a small fishing pond and then some walking trails. In fact, got a little trailhead here. I'm gonna go in there so we can get out of the sun a little bit and I can actually open my eyes whenever I'm looking that way. It might get a little bit dark. But people quite often, they will indicate whenever we're talking that wherever it is they want to buy their house, wherever they want to live in Indianapolis or any of the cities and towns that surround Indianapolis, they want to be near parks or near walking trails. And there are, of course, some very well-known parks across Indianapolis and even some of the suburbs. Now, if you don't live here, you wouldn't maybe know that, like Central Park in Carmel. It's a huge park. It's very well known for people on the north side for sure. But if you're in other parts, you may not know it as well. But in Indianapolis, definitely some well-known parks. Garfield Park is probably one of them that is most known. It's the most historical park. Awesome place to go. That is deep in the city. Another big one, huge Indy park, is Eagle Creek Park. That one by far I think is my favorite park in all of Indianapolis. Huge reservoir on it, tons of walking trails. It's kind of hilly through there too. So if you're a cyclist, you can cycle through the park, you can run through the park either on the roads or the trails, and get some hills in actually. If you're a paddler or a rower, Eagle Creek actually is where a lot of the rowers and crew will actually do their practices, and they have races out there. It's a pretty significant place to do stuff like that. And there are clubs that you can get into for rowing. Kind of awesome. That is definitely my favorite, and it is huge. It's one of the largest municipal parks in the entire country. But this one here, 82 acres, it's no slouch, and this is not a well-known place. All over Indianapolis, you are going to have a lot of these really surprising parks. Now, are you gonna live right next to it where you could ride your bike to it or walk to it? I don't know. You know, it's kind of rare when that perfect combination happens. But is it a short drive? Probably, at least to a park in your neighborhood or in your city or town. Probably one that is really pretty cool that's close by. Now, Eagle Creek, for me, it's kind of rare anymore that I go over there because I don't live all that close to it. I live way east, Eagle Creek Park is way west. But just because you're away from a park like that, it doesn't mean you're not close to something that's pretty cool like this one here. The walking trails through this park are, I mean, they're really awesome. This is heavily wooded, a lot of wildlife going through here, and just a lot of peace too. It's really nice to walk through. If you're way east, being away from Eagle Creek Park, you could also go to a state park like Fort Benjamin Harrison. That is an incredible park. Now, when a municipal park like Eagle Creek or Fort Harrison, you have to pay an entry to get in, or you can get a yearly pass to get in whenever you want. A yearly pass, if you go very often, is the way to go. Otherwise, you're talking, I think it's about $6 or $7 a car just to get in. And you know, if you do that a couple times, it can start adding up a little bit. But if you get a yearly pass, it can save you some for sure. But wherever you are in Indianapolis, you don't have to worry about being next to big anchors like that, like Garfield, Eagle Creek, Fort Harrison. You're always going to be near something like this one. I mean, this is so unbelievably cool. And there are a lot of people in Indianapolis that don't know about Paul Rooster Park, which is, I guess, tragic in a way, but also for people who come to enjoy this park. Obviously, you didn't see a whole lot of people in that parking lot. Of course, it's early in the morning, it's a weekday, school's in, but on the weekends, there are more people out here. For the people that utilize this park, that's kind of a good thing. But they're so spread out, and there are so many incredibly fun, versatile parks across Indianapolis, but not extremely well known. So no worries if you're moving to Indy, if you're gonna be near a park or not. Very likely will be. And you very likely will be next to a park that is something that you become a fan of, or that you're already a fan of because you like what the park offers. So if you have questions about any place in Indianapolis, and whether it's gonna be close to a park that you might like, then let's talk about it. Let's see what it is that you like and see if we can dial in an area that might be the best fit for you. We'll catch you in the next one.